Hi, my name is Gabriela Cardenas, and today I will be speaking about how to create a multicultural classroom in the United States. I picked this topic since I believe the United States does lack diversity in the classroom. I think it's a little segregated in some areas. But three main points I will speak about will be how a multicultural classroom can diminish borders, it can increase cultural competence, and to increase diversity as well. So, as many of you know, I am living in Europe now for 3 years. Hence the flags in the back. I have been in Madrid for 3 years, and now next year I'm actually working my way back to Miami. I'm very sad, but I think it's time for the next move, whether it's the United States or another country. So I was born and raised in Miami, Florida, and I did all my schooling there from kindergarten all the way through university. So this is my first time being somewhere else that's not Miami. So throughout my schooling, I've been with the same people. So when I was 4 years old, I was entered in a private elementary and middle school. My classroom had 30 students throughout my whole course at that school. Everyone in my class was Hispanic. So that was the only thing I was brought up with. I had no idea that there was other things out there. You know, not that my family was close-minded at all, but in Miami, I mean, it's 90-something% Hispanic population. Then I went to high school, and it started getting a little bit more diverse, but nothing, too shocking. And but for the most part, most of my peers from kindergarten came to the same high school as me. After I went to university at FIU, and FIU has a very strong Hispanic community. And yes, it's diverse considering it's an international school, but I mean, the same friends from kindergarten, high school went to FIU. So I wasn't really expanding my horizons in the cultural aspect. So that was a little background as to why I made my way to speaking about this topic of a multicultural classroom. So then after university, I felt kind of stuck. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I know I've always wanted to travel. So I started researching, and I found how to teach English abroad. I had very little finances with me, so that was the best way to travel, to teach English in a foreign country. So I chose Spain, honestly, because I knew the language. I'm familiar a little bit with the Spanish culture because I have some family here. So anyways, I made my way here. I get here, and I didn't really have the culture shock just because the language was very similar. It's Castellano here, and we speak Latin American Spanish over there, but it is similar. Some words are a little different, and I had some trouble, but it was very easy to adjust. Then I started meeting new people. Americans, British, French. My roommate my first year was from France. The other one was from Argentina. I had a girl from LA and a Spaniard. It was 5 of us, yes. It was definitely an experience with them. And I think that was my first experience with a multicultural environment. And I started getting curious and researching and meeting other new people, going to intercambios. An intercambio is when you want to learn a new language and you pair up, for example, me and a Spaniard. I'll speak Spanish and they'll speak English, and we can correct and help each other out. It's actually, I love it. I wish I could do it with other languages. I tried French. Very difficult. I couldn't, no, it was challenging. Anyways, so I got placed at a school in the northeast region of Madrid. So it's around an hour and a half commute from the city center, which is where I'm located. And first day at school, they give me a book, my instructions on what to do. I've never done this before, by the way. And I noticed the English is all British, okay? And yes, I can understand British English, but the rules are a little different. For example, I am 5 years old. I have got 5 years old. So it was definitely an adjustment. So it's the first day of school and I walk into my first classroom. Of course I'm late because I don't know how to work a metro system, since in Miami we have one metro line in downtown and I live in Kendall, so it's useless for me. So I get into the classroom and immediately all of them, my little first graders, raising their hands. Where are you from? What do you do in the United States? Who's your favorite president? What do you eat? Hamburgers, hot dogs. Crazy little, little first grader questions. But it shocked me and I loved how they were interested in another culture. We learned about culture in the United States, my classroom, but it wasn't so interactive. We didn't have someone from another country. All our teachers were Hispanic. In the States, we were never introduced to another culture, how these kids are introduced to different cultures here. So for example, I'm from America, so I'm the American auxiliar. An auxiliar is a helper, which that's our title here. We have a girl from the Philippines, a Scottish boy, and a British girl. So there's so many different English-speaking countries that these kids are learning different cultures from in the classroom, hands-on experience. So from an early age, for my example, I'm doing first grade. These kids are developing cultural competence at age 5. At age 5, I had not a clue as to what culture was, different countries, different ways of living, different traditions. We were never really open to it in the United States, at least in my experience. Everyone's experience is different. So I started to get more curious, and I started to start saving, and I started traveling. I traveled everywhere. I'm at country number 37 starting tomorrow. I'm going to Norway and then Helsinki and then Russia. So I'm very excited. But anyways, there are ways to travel. I know traveling is a luxury and it's expensive, but there are ways. I came to Spain with nothing. My parents couldn't financially support me. And I'm here. Okay, I'm doing fine. There is so many programs that allow you to teach English in different countries. I have friends here in Spain. I have friends in Germany. I have friends in Thailand. There's ways. You just have to save and be smart about your money, because as international educators, I think traveling is the best way to immerse yourself within a culture. Okay, so for example, I went to Denmark 2 years ago on Christmas and went to Mass in Danish, which was awesome. And I celebrated Christmas the Danish way. So I got a hands-on experience. I was with a super Danish family background of me. I used to figure skate, so I had some connections in Denmark. So just things like that. And I had a free place to stay in Denmark. All I had to pay for was food. So you got a budget and pick your priorities if you want to get out there and learn. Anyways, but with the series of events that's happening in America, it's really sad to see how there are borders within our country of America, the greatest country in the world. And personally, I love the United States, but come on, we have to step up and stop with these borders. Here, there's so many different nations in the EU. In the European Union, there's 27, and I believe 58 in Europe in general. And there's no borders. When I say borders, I don't mean literal borders. These are invisible lines. But you go out and there's people from Romania, Ireland, Spain, Portugal, all in one room. And it all started because they have such programs as mine, starting from an early age in the classroom, to make these kids open to diversity, open to diminishing borders and such. United States, I think we could step up and maybe fix our schooling in that way and start when we are young. So when we're at my age or somewhere older, some older, um, it won't be as segregated and there won't be any racism or lack of diversity. The term international benchmarking is when you adapt an educational system from another country and you apply it to your own. Okay? I believe the United States should get some of these concepts from the EU. I can only speak on behalf of Spain since I have personally worked in the school system. I see how it works, and I'm not really sure about others, but from word of mouth and my friends that are language assistants, it seems to be as diversified as it is here in Spain. And I know in the United States people congregate with, their own culture, and it's, you know, more comfortable for them. But for example, last night I was talking with a colleague he's actually from Madrid, but he lived in Germany for 7 years. And we were talking about this specific topic. And he says how Madrid, in the past 5 years, has become this international city that you don't walk into a establishment and see only Spaniards. You see, the whole UN there. And some people may or may not agree, but I think that's incredible. And I understand losing some touches with, like, if it becomes too diverse, you lose the nation's, original cultures. But with globalization these days, it's bound to happen. And as long as you keep the nation's tradition alive and you practice it, I don't see how it would diminish. But anyways, to wrap it up, because I think I exceeded my 10 minutes, I think the United States just needs to step it up with the multiculturalism in the classrooms, diversity, and stop being so segregated, especially in our times now. I mean, history does repeat itself, but I think in our generation, we're a little more open-minded than most of our elders. And I think we could work together to, eliminate borders and to increase cultural competence. And that's my presentation. And thank you for your attention. And I hope everyone has great holidays and a Happy New Year.